Politicians and business groups in the U.S. want Ottawa to scrap the ArriveCan app and clear the backlog of Nexus applications. They are trying to put increased pressure on the federal government to ease travel delays at border points. The Canadian American Business Council is launching a campaign called Travel Like It's 2019 that aims to flood MPs' inboxes with email demands for action. There is also a backlog of about 350,000 applications for the Nexus Trusted Traveler System. Well, with us now to discuss how these travel delays at the border may be impacting tourism in his city is Mr. Jim Diodati, the mayor of Niagara Falls, Ontario. Sir, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me, Nima.
So how does the Travel Like It's 2019 campaign resonate with you as the mayor of a major border city?
Sounds beautiful. I love it. I think it's exactly what we need to do. And, you know, it's been very frustrating for us in Niagara Falls, Nima. We're the #1 leisure destination in Canada. You know, upwards of 14 million people come here every year, and 40,000 people count on tourism to feed their families. So when people ask if tourism is important, I tell them it's right up there with oxygen. So the sound of that is excellent.
And would you happen to have any detailed stats or numbers in terms of how many businesses in Niagara Falls are being affected by these delays?
Well, it's been devastating. We've had 2 years of absolute devastation, and that's something that a lot of us couldn't help. But the frustration right now with the border, that's self-inflicted. That's a man-made disaster. And that's something that we need the federal government to do the right thing. You know, we're all united saying it's a bad thing. It's slowing things down. It's turning people off. And it's the exact opposite of good customer service. So the numbers right now, domestic tourism is fantastic because if you're a domestic tourist, if you're a Canadian, you don't have to deal with the ArriveCan. But anyone internationally is being affected by ArriveCan. And I can tell you, living in a border city, dealing with these problems day in, day out, the horror stories that we're hearing are horrific. So it hits you up front because of the very negative experience and the turnoff. The thing that's really concerning is the long-lasting residual effect of people telling their friends. And you know what they say? If you do something right, they'll tell one person. If you do something wrong, they'll tell 10 to 20 people. Well, that's exactly what's happening. We're very concerned about the ripple effect of negativity as people say, stay away from Canada, bypass Canada. It's a real mess. Don't bother going.
And unfortunately, you're not the only mayor expressing concern around this. So what have you been hearing from other border city mayors in terms of the impact on businesses?
I can tell you, coast to coast, on both sides of the border, we're united. We're all saying we understand why this was implemented in the beginning when they were trying to keep COVID out. Well, we also understand that 99% of all COVID spread is done within the community. So it does nothing to make us safer. And it's frustrating when I hear federal ministers saying how good it works and how it makes things more efficient and keeps us safe. It's obvious they haven't actually checked the facts. And again, we always say you're entitled to your own opinion, not your own facts. And it's very frustrating. And I've double checked it with the medical experts. One of my favorites I deal with is Dr. Zane Chagla at McMaster, infectious disease doctor at McMaster University in St. Joe's Hospital in Hamilton. And I was trying to get an understanding. He said, we don't understand it either. It doesn't make any sense. There's a lot better ways of doing this than they're doing it. So to say we're frustrated is a big understatement.
So what sort of solutions are you and other mayors calling for in terms of addressing this overall issue?
Well, we've spoken with a number of ministers, including Minister Mendicino, and we've said to him, it makes no sense. And it's whether you speak to the business community, the medical community, the political community, the opposition, people within the Liberal Party, they're all saying the same thing. It's time to remove this. And if for some reason the federal government is so in love with it, or someone is so in love with this crazy idea, then make it voluntary. If it's that great as they say it is, and it's going to streamline and make things so much better for travelers, well, then make it voluntary. We should flock to it if it's so great. But they're not doing that. We find that very, very frustrating. Just like Nexus, it's voluntary. And those of us that understand, it does streamline. So we do go get our Nexus. This does not streamline. It's the exact opposite. And when I hear someone saying it makes things better, it tells me you clearly have no idea what you're talking about.
And in terms of the officials involved in this, what kind of responses have you been getting from officials regarding these concerns?
Well, I'm going to tell you, off the record, an awful lot of empathy. But it's clear this decision's got to come right from the top. We've got a lot of finger pointing, a lot of people doing this, a lot of people trying to tell us that it's working so wonderfully and making efficient travel at the border. It's keeping us safer. I can't believe, I feel like I'm living modern day Pravda in the Soviet Union. I mean, where these crazy ideas are coming from, I can't believe. It's frustration for those of us on the border that are suffering. There's no reason for this. And it's really in an industry like tourism that's $105 billion in this country. It's not what we're looking for. We need help. We don't need somebody to make it worse for us.
All right, Mayor Diodati, thank you again for joining us today on Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me, Nima.